this afternoon, 20 leading technology and energy companies are announcing more than $92 billion of investments in Pennsylvania. And if you want, we could probably get them up. Let's talk to them right now. But this is a really triumphant day for the people of the Commonwealth and for the United States of America. We're doing things that nobody ever thought possible. Today's commitments are ensuring that the future is going to be designed, built, and made right here in Pennsylvania and right here in Pittsburgh, and I have to say right here in the United States of America.
That's President Trump doing what he does best in Pittsburgh yesterday, getting more money into America. That was the inaugural AI Energy Summit, announcing more than $90 billion in AI and energy investments for the Keystone State. Top technology and energy sector executives were there, supporting their own investments for the future of America's digital space in the world. Cloud computing company CoreWeave announced a $6 billion investment for a new data center in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And joining me right now is the CEO of CoreWeave, Mike Intrator. Mike, great to see you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Your company has been on fire. Congratulations to you. Tell me about yesterday and this exciting development.
Yesterday was amazing. Senator McCormick kind of nailed it right at the start of the summit when he said that President Trump was going to catalyze the moment, and I really think that was the perfect word for what happened. Looking around that room, seeing those executives. Watching the collective group of us make these commitments to doing business in the Commonwealth and kind of continue to build the energy infrastructure, the data center infrastructure, the computing infrastructure to kind of keep America's AI aspirations right at the forefront of where it needs to be.
Yeah, and look at all these companies that made investments: Brookfield, Capital Power, Constellation Energy, Energy Capital Partners, Google, Meta, GE Vernova. You announced CoreWeave's $9 billion acquisition of Core Scientific. You also announced this $6 billion investment to develop the 300-megawatt data center in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Tell us what you're trying to do here and what the Core Scientific deal does for you.
Yeah, we've been busy.
A little.
So the Core Scientific acquisition, the announcement of the investment in the Lancaster facility and a few other facilities that we're investing in and building, it is an articulation of our strategy to take more control over the physical assets. So in our vertical integration of the company, we're moving both up the stack. Earlier this year, we bought a company called Weights and Biases that gives us a lot of software capacity towards the customer in terms of helping them run experiments, understand what's happening inside the experiments, inside the data sets. We're also acquiring companies like Core Scientific and building data centers to allow us to vertically integrate down into the physical data center infrastructure that's required to house the supercomputers that all of this depends on. And so, I hope the strategy and, is becoming clear. No one piece of this is the answer, but really when you put it all together, what you're seeing is a company that is going to be able to participate in every single step along the way to ensure efficient and effective delivery of that compute. Because at the end of the day, that's the piece that matters. That's the part that our clients depend upon us for. Without that, we're really not going to be serving the purposes of our corner of this industry.
And that's what I want to ask you about, because this moment in time that we're in with this, compute demand because of AI, because of quantum and this need for data centers, how would you characterize or assess this moment in time that we're at right now?
So look, I'm not a spring chicken. I've been working for a long time.
You've seen .com. You've seen lots of different cycles.
There has never been a cycle that I have been involved with where the power of the demand across society has been at the order of magnitude of what we're seeing here. The businesses need to get their hands on it. The scientists need to get their hands on it. The governments need to get their hands on it. There is a understanding that this technology will be the defining technology for the next stage of human development. And with that in mind, the companies around the world, and there are not that many companies that can actually build and run this equipment effectively. The demand that these companies are under is enormous, and it's the hyperscalers, It's a few other companies kind of that have the capacity to deliver this at scale. And one of the things that's really important for people to understand is it's scale that matters, right? Like, it's not that I can build a few computers or I can run a few computers. It's, can I run one of the 3 largest supercomputers on the planet? How quickly can I build it? How much time can I keep it up so that it doesn't break? If it does break, how quickly can I return it to a useful configuration? All of those are the questions that really drive all of the people that are populating the delivery system of this incredible compute resource.
That's amazing. So this is construction jobs. This is AI technology jobs. These are energy jobs. This has such a broad sort of umbrella impact. Step away for a second and tell us from 30,000 feet. I mean, President Trump has a growth strategy. He has made growth in the economy a priority. When you factor in the idea of what you just said, the assessment of this moment in time, what is that growth potential?
Oh, it's enormous, and it's interesting because, and this is an idea that came up repeatedly at the conferences, that, like, there are going to be growth in high-tech jobs, right? There are going to be growths in all of the corporate services that are required to build a company like ours. But one of the things that's really so interesting is there's enormous, overwhelming demand for the trades. Electricians, plumbers, carpenters. Without the human resources, it is impossible to go ahead and rebuild the data center infrastructure of the world in 2 years that took 20 years to build.
That's good.
And it is, like I said, the power of this demand cycle is truly unique. And you know, it was great to see how many people at the conference understood what we have been struggling with as we tried to build this infrastructure.
By the way, that also gives you a little window into what President Trump is trying to do with regard to trade schools and what he's doing on the academic level. But a word about CoreWeave, because in the first quarter, Microsoft accounted for 72% of total revenue, up from 68% in the fourth quarter. Do you need to broaden out and not be so reliant on Microsoft?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, Microsoft is a wonderful client. You know, they're such a creditworthy entity. They allowed us to tap into the capital markets to build on an order of magnitude that would have been impossible for a company of our size.
Good point.
And so it's wonderful to have them as a client, but they are no longer even 50%. They're below 50%.
Wow, that was a big move in a quarter.
Yeah, because we've had some really large contracts come in. We had just under $12 billion contract come in from OpenAI. We had another hyperscaler come and become a contractor. So you're already seeing the diversification, the broadening of our client base. This is something that we're going to work at for the next 10 years. But it is important to understand that the core consumers of this resource that we build, there is going to be relatively few of them, right? People building foundation models, there's not going to be 10,000 of them. They're too expensive, right? And so, you know, we are plugged into all of the large consumers of this compute. Almost all of them are already clients, but we're going to spend a lot of time and effort broadening across the large universe of enterprise clients who will be consuming this compute also.
I love it. We're going to get to Cheryl in a second on Bank of America earnings. We've got a revenue miss that we want to tell everybody about. But real quick on CapEx, what would you guide investors right now in terms of your own capital expenditures right now?
Yeah, so we're in a quiet period because we're coming into earnings, so I'm a little constrained on this.
All right.
So the guidance that we gave in our last earnings will hold. But I do think it was a good indication of where we're going to be. So even with the growth, we've accounted for some of that. And so we're looking pretty good to hit those numbers.
Mike, you're at an incredible moment in time. We so appreciate your time with us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Mike Intrator joining us, the CEO of CoreWeave.